So ladies and gentlemen, at TED we talk a lot about leadership and how to make a movement. So let's watch a movement happen, start to finish, in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons from it. First, of course you know, a leader needs the guts to stand out and be ridiculed. But what he's doing is so easy to follow. So here's his first follower with a crucial role. He's going to show everyone else how to follow. Now notice that the leader embraces him as an equal. So now it's not about the leader anymore, it's about them, plural. Now there he is calling to his friends. Now if you notice that the first follower is actually an underestimated form of leadership in itself. It takes guts to stand out like that. The first follower is what transforms a lone nut into a leader. And here comes a second follower. Now it's not a lone nut, it's not two nuts, 3 is a crowd, and the crowd is news. So a movement must be public. It's important to show not just the leader, but the followers, because you find that new followers emulate the followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, and immediately after, 3 more people. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point. Now we've got a movement. So, notice that as more people join in, it's less risky. So those that were sitting on the fence before now have no reason not to. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, but they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. So, over the next minute, you'll see all of the those that prefer to stick with the crowd, because eventually they would be ridiculed for not joining in. And that's how you make a movement. But let's recap some lessons from this. So, first, if you are the type, like the shirtless dancing guy, that is standing alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals. So it's clearly about the movement, not you. Okay, but we might have missed the real lesson here. The biggest lesson, if you noticed, did you catch it? Is that leadership is over-glorified. That yes, it was the shirtless guy who was first, and he'll get all the credit, but it was really the first follower that transformed the lone nut into a leader. So as we're told that we should all be leaders, that would be really ineffective. If you really care about starting a movement, have the courage to follow and show others how to follow. And when you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first one to stand up and join in. And what a perfect place to do that, Ted. Thanks.
Essentially, your organisation, this next section is an area that can really assist, not just individually, but also for your customers. And I think that's why it's really important. And what we're going to be focusing on is purpose and meaning, and why the organisation does what it does, and why you individually do what you do. That line of sight between what you do and the organisation, and how that helps its customers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get, I got Dan King to do a sort of 4-minute video clip just on some of the science behind purpose. And then we're going to ask you to, in workbooks, to have a look at why it's important for people to understand why they do what they do, and how does your organisation express its profit motive, and how does it express its purpose motive. And then we're going to have a couple of examples of some places that have done some really cool things around the why, and then we're actually going to get you to work on a statement for your organisation, for what you do, and for yourself personally around purpose. Is that okay?
Yep.
Cool. So here's
Here's a way to think about purpose. We can think of purpose with a small p and purpose with a capital P. Here's what I mean by purpose with a small p. I've spent a lot of time interviewing people about their work over the last almost 20 years. And one word I always hear when I interview people about their dissatisfaction is the word contribution. One reason people are dissatisfied at work, one reason they're not engaged at work, is that they feel they're not making a contribution. They're willing to work. Many are willing to work very, very hard. But that becomes kind of frustrating and alienating if their hard work kind of disappears into the ether. They don't see how it contributes to not only the bottom line, but to just getting stuff done. And so one key aspect of purpose with a small p, is looking for ways so people understand why they're doing what they're doing. In my view, managers and leaders sometimes go crazy on the how. Here's how you do it. Here's how you do it. Make sure you do it right. Here's how you do it. Here's how you do it. And we give short shrift to the why. Why are we doing this in the first place? Why does my part actually matter? And so the more we can focus a little bit on the why does it matter? Why does it contribute? The more we're going to deepen levels of engagement and thereby increase performance. That's purpose with a small p. Purpose with a capital P is this. People actually like to do big things too. They like to come in and know that what they're doing actually has some significance, that it matters to the world. Not only that it contributes to their own realm, but that it might actually have some kind of big positive effect on the outside world. Let me give you one really interesting study of this. It's a study done by Adam Grant, who's now at the Wharton School. And he did this really interesting study of an American call center. It was a call center at an American university. And at this university, as in many American universities, people raise money from alumni to help support the school. And what he did is this experiment in his call center where he divided people into three groups. The first group, that's our control group. The second group, everybody's treated the same except for the 5 minutes they get on the phone. First group's our control group. Second group, they read letters from people who used to work in the call center testifying to the personal benefit of having worked there. Okay? The third group also read letters, but they read letters from people who were on the receiving end of the money that was raised there. So people who had maybe gotten scholarships to the university who might not have otherwise been able to attend. So it's really interesting because everybody's treated exactly the same way. 5 minutes, except for those 5 minutes. 5 minutes of reading about purpose, 5 minutes of reading about personal benefit, 5 minutes of doing whatever they wanted. That's our control group. It turned out that the people who spent 5 minutes reading about the purpose, those 5 minutes of hearing stories, real stories from people who are on the receiving end of the money that was raised in this call center, these folks raised twice as much money and twice the number of weekly pledges as their counterparts. This is remarkable. Think about think about if you had a management consultant come into your company or organization and say, hi, I've got a 5-minute cost-free intervention that can double production. That's pretty good, right? And that's what it was. It was this appeal to purpose. And what's happening right now, and it's a very exciting line of research, is that there's an emerging body of evidence showing that in many cases, not for all people in all times, but in many cases, this appeal to a big purpose with a capital P, is actually a performance enhancer. That appealing to a sense of doing something big, doing something that ripples into the world, is actually a way to deepen a sense of motivation, deepen a sense of engagement, and deepen a sense of and elevate people's performance. And so what we're seeing now, I think, is a move from only the profit motive. The profit motive is a very good thing, but it's not the only thing. And we're seeing now the rise of what you might call the purpose motive. That companies, organizations that stand for something and contribute to the world are the ones who just perform the best. Because people know why they're there, they have an animating sense of purpose there, and therefore they do their work better. So in your next session here, we're going to talk about ways to harness the power of purpose to deepen engagement and improve performance.
Right. Does that make sense to you all? So just before I get you to do this activity on page 14, just share a brief story just to go along with what Dan was saying. So over 20 years ago, I used to be the head of the patient experience for a veterans hospital in Australia. And we had a sister hospital 5 miles up the road, which was an acute care teaching hospital. And we looked at the patients that came to our hospital, which was built during the Second World War. So a lot of the veterans would come back from the Second World War, Korean War, Vietnam, and they were all our clients. And in the mid-90s, we realised that they were getting much, much older. So this was a hospital that used to do lots of things, and we thought we did a really good job, and I think we did. But when we were looking at that, for those we knew from a healthcare perspective, the last 2 years of someone's life is the most hospital-intensive time from a health perspective. So we actually went through and did a repurpose, and we got everyone, being Australians, we got everyone on a Saturday morning, we had chicken and champagne and wine at 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and sort of worked together, and we came up with this statement that said that we would be the best hospital in Australia for older people. So the best hospital in Australia for older people. So when we unpack that, that actually meant that we didn't need an accident emergency section anymore. It didn't mean we need surgical high dependency. It meant we didn't need intensive care. What we did was we looked at what would make us be the best hospital in Australia for older people every time. So every decision, every innovation, every change, everything we purchase, we always ask the question, does this make us the best hospital in Australia for older people? Now, we got a lot of flack from it at first because people said, well, how are we going to make money? How are you going to be a high-performing organisation? All the exciting stuff's going somewhere else. But we built the biggest rehab centre in the world at that time. We got the best experts in terms of older people's medicine, geriatric medicine, and all sorts of medicine that was required, surgical services, all sorts of things. Everything was about how do we become the best hospital in Australia for older people. We actually became the number one, within 3 years, the number one performing hospital around that purpose. So do you see where, if you get a statement, now what do you think about when you hear the statement, best hospital in Australia for older people? Forget about the being a hospital. What are some of the significant things just about a 6-word sentence like that?
Focused population.
Sorry?
Focused population.
Focused population, yeah. Were you going to say something?
Focused on a niche.
On a niche, yeah. What else? Do you think if I went and asked the hospital orderly or the cleaner what is the purpose of our organisation, they could remember that?
Yeah.
They could remember that, right? So we didn't have this big sign, that had all these paragraphs about what our vision and mission was. They would just go, my job is to make this the best hospital in Australia for older people. So people knew why we existed. Does that make sense? And so I just share that because that was really important. So in all the decisions, so then we let people loose. And all the time, everyone questioned everything they did, every task was, does this make, that was the question they only had to ask, does this make us the best hospital in Australia for older people? And if you couldn't answer that, then we didn't do it. If you could answer it, then we said, go do it. So I share that because I think that's a powerful example of how the why is really important in organisations. So, what I would like you to do is get your workbook out, page 14, I believe. There's 3 questions. Why is it important for people to know why they're doing something? Give examples from your organisation. How does the organisation express its profit motive? And how does the organisation express its purpose motive? I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do that as a group. Take some notes, and then I'm going to show you some examples, and then we're going to work on Appleton Avenue's why statement.